With how bad the New York Rangers have been so far this season, there is definitely a question on whether or not this team will be full-on sellers at this upcoming trade deadline in early March. And if this team is going to be sellers, there definitely are quite a few pieces on this team that I think could be, pretty good targets for some playoff teams who are looking to possibly go on a long run and are looking to kind of add some talent and or kind of depth as well. So in today's video, we have a very interesting kind of article to take a look at here involving 4 New York Rangers players who the hockey writers have listed as possibly kind of good targets there for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So in today's video, we'll take a look at these 4 players on the Rangers who could be good trade targets for them, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts and opinions on whether or not they should be players who the Rangers are looking to possibly trade away, and if it makes sense or not to see a deal kind of happen here between the Rangers and the Lightning. And they began this article by kind of talking about which spot each of these teams are in. So for the Lightning, they basically said how, they're right now the top wildcard team in the Eastern Conference. They've obviously had a lot of playoff success in the past there. And they're a team who, very well, if they don't want to be, like a first-round exit or an early exit, maybe they do need to kind of add in some depth on their roster and also maybe some more talent to kind of obviously strengthen the roster up. So the Rangers, being a team possibly selling, we definitely have some good pieces there. So there definitely could be a couple of these guys who could be, pretty good and ideal targets for a Lightning team. And for the Rangers, they basically obviously started off by saying that this team has obviously been playing terrible. It was pretty much indicated by, general manager Chris Drury that we are a team very open for business right now, looking to make some big trades. We've obviously seen Jacob Trouba already moved away to the captain, and Kaapo Kakko, the former 2nd overall pick. So we definitely seem like a team who are looking to make some pretty big moves, and possibly a lot of them. So some of these trades here, our players definitely could be involved in a trade at some point, whether it is with the Lightning or possibly with another team as well before this upcoming trade deadline. And starting off here, the first player we are going to talk about in today's video is Chris Kreider. And I think this is a very interesting kind of guy to talk about when you are considering possibly trading him away. Now, he's obviously, pretty much like Mr. Ranger, you could say. He's been here his entire NHL career, was drafted in the first round by this team a way long time ago. He's obviously been the longest tenured Ranger on this team. He has so many records, whether he's close to breaking them or already has a bunch of them as well. He has a bunch of Rangers records there. He's up in the record books for so many different things. He's obviously been a really good Rangers player as well for years and years. It's not like he's been some, kind of bottom 6 guy. He has consistently been in our top 6, being one of our top goal scorers for years and years. And, for the most part, there has been quite consistent on putting up some pretty good numbers as well. So I think he is a very good player and is someone who right now is on a pretty good contract as well. It's not like he's on some awful contract, I'd say, and I think that contract provides some extra value as well. So if we are looking to trade away a guy like Chris Kreider, which I'm not necessarily in favor of now, if you get blown away by a deal and they're offering, some really talented kind of young winger there and like a first-round pick or something like that, then you definitely got to think about it. But unless you are getting a pretty big haul or a lot of value for someone like Kreider there, I would much rather just see him kind of stick around on this team, because you still need these good kind of veteran guys who can obviously kind of help continue us kind of keep going there. And it's not like this team is looking to go into more than likely a full-on rebuild where we're completely kind of tearing things down. So keeping around a guy like Chris Kreider there who has that experience, has been a Ranger for so long, definitely could be kind of the right move for this team, and a very smart one as well, in my opinion. So honestly, I don't want to see Kreider traded away, although maybe it would be what's best for this team if he can get the right kind of assets back in return. But unless it is a really, really good package for a guy like Chris Kreider there, personally, I do not want to see him moved away, in my opinion. And next up here, we have Alexis Lafreniere, the former 1st overall pick from the 2021 NHL draft. And first off here, pretty simple. No, I don't expect him to be traded away, and I don't want to see him traded away either. To me, this makes no sense. I mean, he just got that somewhat recently. I mean, not obviously like last week, but, fairly recently, and just in general terms, we gave a massive extension to Alexis Lafreniere, who obviously is a guy who is kind of expected and supposed to be at this point one of our future kind of guys to truly possibly lead this team back towards, being a true cup contender and kind of being a part of the new kind of main core of players there. Not the old kind of core of Zibanejad and Panarin and Foxy and guys like Kreider and all that kind of stuff there. We kind of need to start seeing that kind of new core come along here of guys like Lafreniere. Obviously still Foxy, but then you got Cooley in the mix there as well. You could kind of count Trocheck into the mix as well going forward long term. So there definitely are some pieces on this team right now who I think should and will be long-term pieces, and Alexis Lafreniere is definitely one of those guys. I can't imagine us trading him away. I mean, to me, it makes absolutely no sense. We just gave him that massive contract. It looks like one that if he does come anywhere close to his true potential, or at least continues on this pace that he's on right now for the season so far, really, he's probably going to end up having a really good, possibly even very team-friendly contract as well. Now, obviously, kind of depends on how he kind of develops and plays, long-term wise, but right now, as things kind of, are looking towards the future there, I would say personally that I think this is going to be a really good contract. So with the contract, how he plays, how young he is, how talented he is, to me, it really makes no sense to actually trade away a guy like Lafreniere with the way this team has been kind of playing and the spot that this team is in right now. Trading away one of your young kind of star players would make absolutely no sense unless this is the only scenario where it does make sense, and that is if you're trading Lafreniere in a package for, a kind of superstar or at least, kind of high tier star level player. So that's the only possible way to me. It makes sense to move Lafreniere. I'm not looking to move him for, a couple picks and some prospects. To me, that would make absolutely no sense at all, in my opinion. And next up here, we have Jimmy Vesey, who is a pretty solid bottom six player. I don't think he's anything too crazy, but this is someone who could be a nice addition for a playoff team like the Lightning, who maybe want to add in some depth there, an experienced forward who's, played a lot in the playoffs there, has been on a consistently pretty good team, although not this season. The Rangers have been a good team, though. I've gone on some long playoff runs. He's been a part of that, so adding in a guy like Vesey there who has a very cheap contract, who isn't going to cost you a ton, could be a good pickup there. Now, in my opinion, you're probably looking at a kind of mid to later round pick. Maybe it's like a 5th round pick. I think that's pretty good and kind of fair value for about what Jimmy Vesey can bring. So maybe we can get a 5th round pick, or maybe we kind of stretch it towards a 4th. Either way, I think a 4th, 5th round pick would be a pretty nice kind of return for someone like Vesey, who very well could end up getting traded away and then come back and sign a pretty much, around league minimum deal for next season as well. It could happen. So I think overall, trading away a guy like Vesey makes a lot of sense, and getting any kind of value back, especially if it is, like a mid-round pick, 4th or 5th, I would be very happy with that for a guy who is just more of a kind of bottom six player. And the final player we're going to talk about in today's video is Matt Rempe. They have Matt Rempe listed as one of the 4 players that they think, could be a good target for the Tampa Bay Lightning, which in my opinion is interesting. I'm not quite sure why, the team like Tampa would be kind of, itching to go trade for someone like Rempe. I know what he can bring, and he definitely can bring some value to a team, but with how raw his game is, with him just getting that massive suspension there, and with him, just not being an established, full-time NHLer, I don't know why a true kind of, contending team, or at least a team who really wants to make the playoffs and go on a decent long run, like I'm sure the Lightning do. To me, it makes kind of very little sense to go after someone like Rempe. I think it would make a lot more sense if you're looking, for a bottom six forward to go after someone like Vesey, who, I can imagine would be a whole lot more expensive. And I don't really know exactly what Rempe's value would be. My guess is a late round pick at best there. I don't think you're getting much more than that. So to me, it makes absolutely no sense for the Rangers to really trade away a guy like Rempe. If you're only getting like a 6th or 7th round pick, it makes no sense to move off of him already. And for what you're getting back in return there, and for what teams be wanting, to me, it makes no sense there for either side. For the Rangers, trade him away because you're not going to get much back. And for a contending team to want to make the playoffs and want to run, why is Rempe the guy who you really want to go after? Maybe if he's a guy who you want to kind of trade for and then kind of mainly just kind of stash him for this season, maybe next in the AHL, or just kind of have him as a depth guy to possibly be making an impact, more next season, kind of have the offseason to develop him possibly, that can make a little more sense. But in my opinion, it really makes no sense for right now, for a team who wants to make the playoffs, go on a run, to go out there, trade for someone like Rempe, and kind of plug him into that lineup and play him pretty much every night. To me, for a contending team, that does not make a whole lot of sense. And just to kind of give a little recap here, these are not kind of my 4 players who I think are great targets for the Lightning. These are 4 players who the hockey writers, have in their article here that will be linked in the description. So if you want to check it out, definitely go check out their article on these 4 players here and kind of what I made this video on. But I think it's interesting, some of these guys probably aren't the best fits for the Lightning to trade for and for the Rangers to trade away, but I think in general, there definitely should be some more trades happen from this New York Rangers team, and they very well could end up being in more of a selling move. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. And also don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this video in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.